Good morning. Welcome to the Vibrant Morning here in BTV Kenya. I'm your host Gagi Isaiah. Vibrant Morning brings you what is in the People Daily newspaper. That is a brief or a brief of what is in the People Daily newspaper. That is newspaper review. Remember, you can subscribe and follow us on BTV Kenya. Just go to YouTube, type BTV Kenya, you subscribe, follow, and leave a comment. Let us know where we are reaching you from. At the same time, you can also visit Facebook page, BTV Kenya, subscribe, watch, leave a comment. Let us know where you're viewing us from. And also remember, you can also reach us on X and also on TikTok, that is BTV Kenya. As we proceed, remember, People Daily newspaper is a free newspaper. Yes, now as we said, remember, People Daily newspaper is a free newspaper. We're sorry for that hiccup, but we are still on. People Daily newspaper is a free newspaper. Just move to your vendor, to the vendor next to you, pick a copy and read more comprehensively, as we will be giving you brief of what is in the People Daily newspaper. Now, today my co-host Lennox Odede is not around with me. Is how to help us gather more news that will bring you at late in the evening, at late night news. Now, as we proceed, now looking onto the cover page of People Daily newspaper, we see newspaper, but it's down a cover page. As we see, also the big story of the cover page is clergy speak truth to Ruto. We see that is on page 14. Let the political class come down from their high horses, listen for once, rather than perpetuate the culture of impunity, says the Anglicans. That is in page 4. We'll give you that and much. Since that is also, we see blow as MPs block varsities from offering diplomas. That is in page 6. Also a survey of 20 most impactful jumping. We have alarm over the rising death due to antibiotic resistance. Now, this is a story. This is a story of how a doctor survived having gone through a lot and having he got injured. Actually, was taken to the hospital. He was under a lot of antibiotic drugs, but he only came to realize only one was effective. That is in page 2 of the People Daily newspaper. And stories by George Kibaso. It says, a infection that will not respond to available drugs may turn fatal. So you read the story, you'll read there the story of Dr. John Kariuki during an interview in Nairobi yesterday. Now, this shows that in 2019, approximately 1.27 million deaths were directly linked to AMR, and also it also shows that if not contained by 2050, about 10 million people will die annually directly due to AMR. That is what's happening in the story is that their body will resist the effects of drug. That is on page, that is in page 2 of the People Daily newspaper. And still on the same page, Garissa University attack survivor graduates with a top degree. A story by Wangari Njuguna. Now Rachel Muthoni recounts herself lucky to have escaped death by whisker during the terror attack at Garissa University back in 2015. From the story of Rachel Muthoni, you realize that she said categorically that she had gone through a lot. Actually, 7 bullets were lodged in her body, and she only came to realize that she could not do anything but to be confined in a wheelchair. But thank God for the therapy that she undergone that has made her to see the light of the day. Read that and more on page 2 of the People Daily newspaper. A story by Wangari Njuguna. A story by Tony Wafula. Health experts have warned that almost all expectant teenagers are at risk of giving birth to premature birth if they are not taken care of. Now, as the world celebrate World Prematurity Day, Bungoma is one of the communities with high rates of teenage pregnancies. So you realize that from the story that it says that if many teenagers who are expectant are not taken care of, then we expect to see more of premature births. That is the story. Grab a copy and read. And also we have politician, athletics and professional. Controller of budget Nyakangu is in the list for criticizing public resources spending by different government agencies. Among other people who are in the list, a story by Eli Gitau. Among other people are Muthoni Kirumba, a journalist. We have Gathoni Wamachumba, MP, Faith Kipyegon. We also have Faith Odhiambo and Mary Muriuki. You can also check that and read more of that. You'll find that those are some of the people that top the list. As we said earlier, that is a survey that puts top 20 most impactful women in the Republic of Kenya. That's just sample of what is in that story. Grab a copy and read more comprehensively of that story. Also, we have more than 4,000 have died in road accidents. That's also a filler story in that. Some 4,047 Kenyans have died in a road accident this year, prompting stakeholders to call for more action to curb the carnage. According to the government, the figure is worrying since it surpasses United Nations threshold, and that much effort should be put in to reduce the road carnage, that is the road accident. You can also read that story. This tells us that we should be very careful. The motorists, the drivers, and all those road users, we should be very careful as we use the roads, and more measures should be taken to see into that. Now, moving on to page 4, where we see church in chorus against the Kenya Kwanza regime. Now, spontaneous chord struck by the Christian body underline the desperate feeling helpless in the nation. Now we find that the church, a story by People Daily newspaper team said that the church was yesterday united against President William Ruto's government, with the Anglican Church of Kenya and evangelical churches rallying behind the Catholic counterparts in calling out the Kenya Kwanza government for running down the country. Now, speaking separately, Anglican and the evangelical supported the position taken by the Catholic last week, accusing Ruto administration of overtaxing citizens while overseeing the abduction and killing of innocent and others. Now you can also grab a copy and to read that the church has joined together to criticize the Kenya Kwanza government. You can also read that. As we move on the same page, ODM party to hold grassroots election next week. Story by Noven Owiti and Faith Masharia. It states that the Orange Democratic Movement Party is set to hold its grassroots elections next week. The National Election Coordinating Committee, NEC, which is mandated to oversee the party's election process, announces that the elections will be conducted on November 27th across all gazetted polling units in the 47 counties. Now you can also grab a copy and read much and more of that. As we move on, we see CJ's eye for over child rape cases. Now, Kome explained how increased cases of defilement by relatives and caregivers make it hard to pursue justice. A story by Samuel Karaoke. It states that fight against child abuse in modern time has become tougher and more children face the risk of being defiled within their homes and communities by relatives and caregivers. Now, the Chief Justice said, where defilement involves close family members occurs, the underage victims often lack the necessary support in the process of pursuing the justice. Now, the Chief Justice called on the parents to be very supportive and stand to their children in order to see that the justice they deserve come to see the light of the day, not to hinder those who participated in such events. And she also added that child abuse and rape are against, and they are violating the children's right. Now, another filler story is that Kibaki case set for June next year. Story by Alphonse Mungao. A succession case in which a man is seeking to be recognized as the firstborn son of former President Moi Kibaki has been pushed to 26th June next year. Now, Justice Eric Ogola directed the parties in the case to bring their witnesses to court even as they continue to pursue an out-of-court settlement. Now, you can also grab a copy and read that. Now, we move very fast to page 6, where we have legislators block universities from offering diplomas. It says from the story that public universities will only be allowed to offer postgraduate diplomas and certificates if the bill passes. The bill has been in the parliament. A story by Masimwai that seeks that the universities strictly offer postgraduate diplomas and also degree certificates, but not offering diploma certificates. You can grab that story by Masimwai and read more comprehensively. Thousands of Kenyans seeking to acquire diploma and certificates in public universities will have to look elsewhere after a House committee approved a bill that seeks to block the universities from offering such academic qualifications. Now, instead, the public universities will only be allowed to offer postgraduate diplomas, postgraduate certificates, and degrees if the bill sails through the parliament. You can also grab a copy and read. So we say 7 teachers in custody over KCSE exam malpractices. A story by Barry Salil. It said that 7 teachers, among them 5 center managers, have been arrested in Nandi County on suspicion of aiding candidates in the ongoing 2024 Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Education examination. According to the detectives, the teachers were arrested with electronic gadgets, among them mobile phones that were being used to share out copies of exam papers together with the marking schemes. Now you can also read that. That is in Nandi. You also find all much of that story is in page 6 of the People Daily newspaper. Now we also see on the same page tension in Nandi after MCS votes to reject the report. A story by Barry Salil says the tension is still high in the Nandi County government after members of the County Assembly (MCS) voted out report proposing the seeking of the entire cabinet of Governor Chepsang by an ad hoc committee chaired by Benjamin Kerich Matata called for the dismissal of Governor's cabinet on grounds that the team had failed to deliver services to the electorate. Now you can also grab that and read more. Now you can also grab that and read more extensively from that. Now we move on to fast and with speed to page 8, where Nyandarua MCS split on impeaching governors. Now Nyandarua story by David Masharia says that states that Nyandarua ward representatives were divided yesterday on whether to support a motion to impeach Governor Moses Kiarie Badilisha. The disagreement was evident during the informal meeting, that is Kamkunji, that members of the County Assembly held in the House on Friday. Now you can also read that as members were divided on whether to impeach the Nyandarua governor or not. You can also read that. We also see on the same page, Treasury official says they don't owe us any penny. Now, response followed county chief warning that their operation will stop unless 63.6 billion Kenya shillings was disbursed. Now that a story by Anthony Mwagi states that operations in counties will be paralyzed within the next 30 days if government disburses will be exhausted in no cash immediately release funds owed to the counties for, or the counties governments will have to shut down operations completely. They want. You can also read extensively from the People Daily newspaper on page 8. Now we see a man who defrauded school owner out on bond. A story by Winston Chesereni. It states a man accused of masquerading as a senior government official and conning the proprietor of a private school in Eldoret will be released on bond. To secure his freedom, Alan Mugavare Kenyatta must deposit or must post 500,000 bond with a security of the same amount, or alternatively cash bail of 50,000 Kenya shillings. You can also grab a copy and read much of that story. Now we move very fast to page 10, where we have quotes of the day, that is People editorial. Now the quote of the day we have, one is from NSBCC official Japhet Kioko. He says, in most communities, boys are often raised to believe having multiple sexual partners prove their power of manhood, thereby increasing the risk of exposure to diseases such as HIV/AIDS. Another quote of the day is from Nairobi Majority Leader Peter Imwatok. It says, we receive funds from controller of budget every week, but they cannot they are not sufficient to run the county government. Every week, Finance Sec borrows money to pay salaries and allowances for officials. That is also there. And we also have one from Beacon Teachers Africa founder, that is Dr. Joan Mwende. She says, many children are suffering in school due to poor parenting. We have a lot of dysfunctional families where some parents do not understand their parental responsibility and leave the children unattended. You can also grab a copy and see that. Now let me move to the thought of the day, where the thought of the day is from Thomas Aquinas. It says, if the highest aim of a captain were to preserve his ship, he would keep it in the port forever. Think of that, that if the captain of a ship, his main priority is to make sure that the ship is safe, then the ship will not sail through to the other destinations for the security of keeping it safe. Safe. That means that there are some other factors to consider. Now, looking at the cartoon of the day, we see Wanjiku in a bottle known as poverty. Grab a copy and see into that. Now, we move into page 13, where we see bold to pay a taxi driver 500,000 Kenya shillings for data breach. Now, that is their commissioner. Commissioner found that taxi hailing firm failed to put in place appropriate organizational and technical safeguards. A story by Caroline Kubwa. Now, the Office of Data Protection Commission, ODPC, has ordered taxi hailing app company Bold to pay a driver 500,000 Kenya shillings for allowing unauthorized parties to access his account, perform 17 fraudulent trips worth 26,000 Kenya shillings. The data commissioner, Immaculate Kasait, ordered Bolt operations and Bolt Support Kenya Limited to pay Kenneth Mbugwa, a taxi driver, the amount as compensation for breaching his data rights. Now, you also have that story there. Grab your copy and read much more comprehensively. As we also see Matthew Wangara losses bid to stop sizes of assets. A story by Caroline Kubwa. Now, drug trafficking suspect Nancy Kinguzu, popularly known as Matthew Wangara, has lost her bid to stop an asset recovery agency from freezing her assets. Now, the High Court issued preservation orders against her 11 properties valued at more than 13 million Kenya shillings. The anti-corruption court judge Benjamin Musyoki barred Kiguzu and 5 others and their employees, agents, or servants from dealing in any manner with the properties in questions. You can also read that story